do not know where my makeup goes when I do these videos. I have makeup on, but yeah. So obviously I never quite plan out these videos, but I still think they're important to make. So what the heck? Let's see. So doing the keto diet, and I realized within this past week that, and this is such an important realization, and it's not like I hadn't realized it, but I realized that that I need to return to therapy, number one, and or I need to just keep doing the work that I always talk about doing the work. See, I don't know about anyone who might be watching this, but I've lost, in the past, have lost over 100 pounds twice, and I have regained, I'm trying to think if the first time I lost it, I did regain and plus more. The second time I lost it, I did not regain more. So I guess that's a positive spin. And then there was also a time when I lost 50 pounds because I only needed to lose 50 pounds. Now I'm anyway, I'm losing again. And but the point is that that I know. Even though it is more difficult this time because I'm now over 40, I know that I can physically lose the weight. It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination, and I am sure there will be plenty of videos about that. But I know I can physically lose it. But obviously, if I keep regaining it back as I have in the past, that it's not the physical lose weight thing that one needs to work on. It's the internal, for me, it's the internal stuff, like what caused me to gain weight in the first place, and how am I different and going to be able to keep it off in this next place. And this last week, just, I just had like some emotional flare-ups, and I realized, oh, that is the stuff I have to work on, or it's some of the stuff that I have to work on. And that's an important reminder. And, I'm a mess, and I thought about not talking about this on YouTube, but number one, other than a very nice person who commented on one of my videos last week, I don't know if anybody watches these. So what the hell? And I figure also, people like to see the mess of people, and frankly, I don't really mind revealing the mess of me. Number one, to strangers. It's much easier than talking one-on-one with people about my mess. And what's the other thing? Oh, well, oh, look, it's Lulu. That's Lulu. I always appreciate seeing other people's messes. It makes me feel better and more engaged. And so I've never minded, like, if we were friends on Facebook, which we're probably not going to be unless we already are, because I try not to cross too many boundaries. Then you would know that I reveal my shortcomings quite often, and I like revealing my shortcomings. It's one of my hobbies. So anyway, so here's my shortcoming for today. So I generally weigh myself Saturdays and Sundays, and then not during the week. I used to be like a daily weight person, but I'm not. I respond too poorly to bad news. I do really well if the good news continues to come, and then I do not do well when the good news is not there. So today is a perfect example of that. So I get on the scale, and it is, let's see, what was it? It was it a pound higher? No, it was just half a pound higher than it had been the last time I got on the scale, a week ago. Half a pound higher overweight. Like, ideally, I would have lost maybe 2 pounds-ish. When you're over 40, it doesn't go all that fast. But maybe I would have lost 2-ish pounds, right? That would be ideal. But I changed up my diet a bit because I learned to cook steak, and the steak had a lot of calories, as it turns out. More calories than I really should have been having. But anyway, I learned to do steak, and now I'm going to modify that and cut those bad boy steaks in half, and half a steak per day. Anyway, half a pound, right? So, normally, if it's good news, I like grab my phone, and I do get back on the bed sometimes, and I like change my weight, and I'm all happy, and then I get up and I get going. This time I got onto the bed. I definitely did not update my weight, because I figured, half a pound, it would be in flux. So, anyway, I just returned to bed, period, basically. I read and I did some stuff, but all from bed, which, some people would say that's a sign of depression. I don't think I'm depressed, but I definitely have some depressive tendencies related to my weight, which, I did some self-talk stuff about how half a pound, not a big deal. It's certainly not, I've had worse responses than just staying in bed. But anyway, I stayed in bed, and I said to myself, I'm staying in bed until this half pound is gone. And in fact, I stayed in bed so long that I went down a pound, to the point where now I have lost half a pound during the last week. Still not ideal, and but is a clear reminder of just how ridiculous I am about food. It's also a reminder about how much weight fluctuates, because I literally just sort of went back to my bed. I didn't eat anything, of course, but like my weight fluctuated a pound, a full pound, just over the course of, 2 or 3 hours, something like that. So, lots of lessons learned and that kind of thing. But the key lesson for me is that I still have a lot of internal work to do, both in, not just about like my response to the scale, but just about how I got here in the first place and what will send me back here if I don't work through it. And I think a lot of it, at least based on kind of some of the hints I got today, not a lot of it, I guess there's a lot I have to work through. And one of those things is that I often do not use my voice, and I'm afraid to be vulnerable and afraid to feel important emotions. And I am often afraid to share the things that matter to me, in case, I think for various reasons, I am afraid to share those in case the things that matter to me don't matter to the person I'm sharing them with. And that has been a key theme in my life, to the point where I have sort of cut myself off. On the one hand, I need another person quite desperately, and because I've never quite been able to allow myself to have another person share who I am and who they are intimately, intimately in here. And I've never been able to allow myself to do that. And that, even though I'm desperate to do it, but that very desperation makes me wall off and kind of act like it doesn't even feel like an act at this point, but to not need that connection, or to not need to share who I am and what matters to me. Like, really share it and be okay with somebody else's response. Like, I can share who I am with this webcam and like strangers, because even though it matters, I'm not putting a whole lot on the line by sharing it. But I'm hoping that making these webcams is like practice these webcam videos as like practice for sharing who I am to someone who it actually does matter to me, that they hear me and hear what matters to me and hear how I feel about something, and respond to that with in some kind of an inclusionary way, in a way that we're all just kind of walking around open sores basically, and we just want somebody to see our sores and take care and recognize that we need help taking care of them. And I've never been able to show anybody my sores. So that's kind of what I want out of this YouTube video, in addition to talking about keto in general. But I thought I'd start with this because it's a little bit of weight issue, a little bit of my personal issues, and maybe it relates for somebody. I don't know. I am still a work in progress who spent a few hours in bed today because the scale didn't say what I wanted it to say. Regrouping on that effort, like what to do, tracking my food carefully, staying under my macros, all the things that I know I need to do. Frankly, keto is really important to me because it keeps me from eating things that cause me to take my food out of control. It's a good physical diet solution, and then and I gotta work on the other part. I gotta work on the inside part, and I am. So that's today's ramble.